Welcome to THD, the Headphone Dialogue, Episode 1. In today's episode, Beyerdynamic DT1990, is it any good? What is the Klipsch HP3? Are there any real reference quality closed headphones out there today? And many more topics. Introducing today's cast, Mad Economist from Cascadia Audio, Offenlicht hailing from Germany, Meadow571 who produces some very good video reviews, and Ishka, also known as Kyle, from headphone.com.
You tell me you love me, but I know that's a lie.
Is that a recommended spirit to drink with while listening to ESP950s?
I wish.
You wish?
I mean, it's water, so I guess it's appropriate.
What spirit would you recommend then with ESP950s?
Everclear. No, I feel like that would be more of a Stax thing, so you can
Oh my god.
forget that you're listening to Stax.
I know Zeos did a review on the T90, and he did a shot right in the middle of the of the video right before the review because he's like, you need this for the treble.
But like honestly, after having the DT1990 for a bit, I think it has more treble than the T90, and I don't know how people don't really hear that as much.
I mean, that's what the measurements seem to show, right?
Yeah, I feel like the T90 is a better version of the 1990, which is really weird because everyone hated the T90.
Like in terms of like upper mids, lower treble region, like how do they differ? Like the T90 and the 1990.
The 1990 sounds weird. It sounds kind of like glassy and thin, even though measurements wouldn't really say that. Like
glassy, like
I don't know. There's some weird sheen to everything.
Like the A12, maybe the K812 a little, or different.
It's kind of different. It's just
I don't
like
think it's
really
as bad as the A12. A12 is very like forced, like grain. Yeah, I don't think the 1990 is quite as bad as that. But it's got a different like treble timbre, I think. Maybe you agree with me. Then on like compared to like the DT880, it doesn't quite have like the peaks in the same spot. It sounds like that.
It's more just like bright instead of like bright in one spot.
Yeah.
Which I think is why people are saying the DT990 is so much harsher, because they only hear that one spot instead of the wide or entire band of treble boost. So it's not as jarring.
Right. But like, go ahead.
No, you first.
All right. You generally do like headphones that most people would say lean on the brighter side. So it's just like a timbre thing for you.
It's just like so much brighter. Like I thought for some reason when I measured the 1990, I was like, oh, it shouldn't be that much brighter than like the HE1000. It's just like already pretty bright, but it has like 5 to 7 dB higher of treble.
And you did listen to it before you measured it.
Because I listened to it right before going to class, so I obviously wouldn't have been able to set everything up.
Yeah. Right, and it was noticeably bright before that too, right?
Yeah. Before I had 5 minutes to use it before going to class. Within the first minute, I started getting a headache.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
That's because it's the treble and the fact that it clamps like harder than a new HD650.
Jesus.
Oh, that thing weighs a lot. I think people are underestimating the weight of those new Beyers. It's really
they're actually pretty heavy, right? Especially with the cable.
It's like Elir heavy, isn't it?
It can't be Elir heavy. Isn't the Elir like Audeze?
I think it's a touch lighter than the Elir. I think it's a touch lighter. But the thing is, the Elir cable is so heavy, so I don't know if it's actually that.
So that helps make it heavier.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh wait, does the Elir have the Elex cable, or does it have the Utopia cable? Where it's got
this cable. It has this cable that kind of looks like a phone charger.
Yeah, it's the worst one.
Yeah.
The old one has
worse than the Utopia.
Yeah, I
the
think
Utopia one reminded me of like Hosa split mic cables that you get on Amazon.
I'm not completely sure, but I think it's actually a little worse. The old Elir cable, the first generation Elir cable, because I think they changed it at some point. I think they put in a 2-meter one now. But don't quote me on it. I'm not completely sure. I heard somewhere. I heard somewhere that they did change the cable. I'm not sure. There's an echo. Who's echoing?
I think it's probably you coming out of Kyle's ESP950s.
All right, I'll try to get the CD900 to work again then.
And I think I just saw the DT1990 was 370 grams. Still up there.
Yeah, that's like exactly as heavy as a single-sided Hifiman, I think.
Okay. That's
Of course, that's your reference.
Well, I mean,
what the HE560.
what else is like 370 grams? The T50RP, an HD800 or an HD800 with like a 50-gram weight on it. An HD800 with one of those really big custom cables.
So bottom line is you didn't like the 1990.
I mean, yeah.
It's not really your style. But can you see like who would like it or like a purpose for it?
I can see who could like it, but the fact that it's like $600, and it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't sound good for $600. Like, honestly, I think the DT880 sounds better. Like, if you gave me those two headphones and I didn't know what the cost of either was, I would think the DT880 is the more expensive headphone.
Yeah, see, I always felt that way, but I was like a little bit like iffy on saying that because so many people seem to like the 1990.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I get why.
Yeah, it's still got kind of that, it's still got the Beyer signature. I thought the like bass extended a little bit better.
It's a little warmer in the bass, I think.
Yeah, definitely got a little bit of a warm, or like a mid bass thing, I think.
I only had a very brief listen to it, and I honestly didn't really notice the treble that much. But to be fair, it was literally at earphone in Tokyo. So, well, that's not really proper listening environment, and I only had a digital audio player with me. I didn't have like a proper source there to test it, so I don't want to really say much about what I thought of the sound. It's just that I think a lot of people were like taken in with the hype at the beginning, and obviously it's fairly good looking headphone, I think most would agree, and it's
it looks like a cheese grater to me still.
But it looks, I think to most people it would look pretty decent, and it's fairly comfortable for most people probably too. Yeah, it's like it looks sharp, it looks that's like what kind of German.
And it's still the best of the Tesla. What are we on now? 2.0, 2.1, whatever it is.
Yeah, I guess it's definitely better than like
the Amaron and the 1770. Also,
love that generation. Yeah.
Not even like that's what I meant. And of that gen, I think the 1990 is definitely the best. But yeah, I still agree that the 880 has more detail.
I think Beyerdynamic is like due for another like flagship type headphone. I think that they probably have something in the works right now.
T2.
No, it's going to be the T1S.
Wow.
S for Sennheiser copy.
We're gonna bring back the DT48.
And then just brand it as a flagship and charge $1,000.
Oh man,
the original
forums that like that. I had sort of a question. I haven't heard the 1990 yet, but the description of like more treble than the 880, more harsh than the 880, more warm than the 880 sounds a lot like the T90 to me.
Yeah,
like is it just like
T90.
Yeah, it's just a flag.
I can probably send you like a comparison of like flat plate T90 and DT990 later.
But
they measure pretty similarly, yeah.
I wonder if it's just, I mean, I guess it is basically the same niche, but I really wonder, like, why was the T90 so hated then, and then, like, everyone loves the 1990?
I think it started off with people saying that the T90 was the harshest thing they've ever heard. And then the DT990 happened to get to people that, like, hype everything. And so because they, like...
They started the ball rolling in that direction. Yeah,
exactly. And the people that are new to the hobby aren't going to question those people. So they like, since like, it's like if you haven't heard anything better, it's a good sound. Like, but like, it's so unpleasant for me to listen to.
I was so back and forth on it, but I think that's also because the soundstage on it is actually really good. Like it had decent imaging qualities, and I felt like it was at least on par with the 880 for that. And I was like, I don't think that was quite that good on the other Teslas that I had reviewed before that. It was funny. Beyer just so happened to send me the 1770 and Amaron, and then I had to get somebody else to send me the 1990. But that last one was definitely the best one of that lot.
Did you find the 1990 to sound less dry than the 880?
It doesn't sound dry at all to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds...
I think maybe that's something that people like.
Yeah. Like, I don't like the DT880 that much because of how dry it is, but I can respect that it sounds like a better headphone to me.
Yeah, it's good at detail retrieval, but yeah, the timbre and the treble has just got to be very different
It's just
than 1990.
thick sounding. I don't know, like it's like thick enough that it kind of makes a veil over everything. And like I don't know, I wish the HP3 were cheaper because it really does everything the DT990 does, but like 2 steps better.
The what?
Yeah,
The Klipsch HP3.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
the HP3.
Because they're both like V-shaped, and like the HP3 has a
That's
decent enough range.
the close one with the biodynamic driver, or
No,
No,
that's
that's
like a TH driver, Foster.
Mhm.
Oh, it is. I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah, there's like
Oh,
there's like a big thread. Wait, can we say forum names? On a certain audio forum, the guy who was in charge of it talked a lot about how they were designing it, and it's a 50mm biodynamic driver, or biocellulose more properly, but
yeah.
Which is, I think, just the standard Foster special with like a couple of tweaks.
I wonder if there are enough people who have it who have even bothered to like take it apart a little bit and look at the the model number on the driver by now. I haven't looked at that though.
I'm pretty sure you just had to.
Oh, he did.
You just
Okay,
takes apart anything that has a biocellulose driver.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, did he try to like quote unquote fix it? Does anybody know?
He tried to mod the
That's
Klipsch.
what I-
Really?
Oh yeah, he tried modding it,
Oh wow.
and then I don't know what he did with
No
because I
idea.
know I helped him sell one pair. Well, he sold one pair himself, but I don't know if he sold the other pair.
Huh. And I'm pretty sure that I heard the HP3 in New York earlier this year, and like my first reaction, I put it on and listened. I was like, no, this is just this searing treble, just like exploded out of it, and I was like, wow, I really don't know why this is getting any hype. And then I think Tile measured it too, and it came out like really V-shaped, and I was like, okay, that makes some sense. I'm not sure if he immediately dismissed it
super
or if he
V-shaped.
reviewed it. Maybe he reviewed it completely. I can't remember.
I don't think he reviewed it, but I know he measured it.
I forget what he
Yeah,
said.
I don't think Ty would have liked it.
I
Oh,
think
right.
I don't think he reviewed it. I don't think he reviewed it.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy one myself, but like if you want a 990, then you might as well save up the extra like $100. I feel.
Oh,
Because
really?
they
It's
do
that cheap?
And then you get
These ones are like $700. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. And then you get like, I think it looks more special too, the Klipsch one.
Mhm.
You gotta
Oh, it
give
looks
it that.
cool.
It looks
I
looks
agree.
unique, right?
And you don't have to worry about the possibility of them failing like the Tesla drivers do.
Yeah, yeah. And it's probably more a more consistent driver too.
Mhm.
Like with what sometimes
Well,
you can see.
the Foster biodynamic drivers, yeah, those are like super consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
we're
trying
still-
to figure out how to share the friggin' tile measurements, but Jesus, that's a lot of treble.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a lot of trouble.
I remember it looks like really jagged too. Like not that
Yeah,
as an
it
indicator.
does.
It's just like
I wonder.
I don't know.
Yeah,
What
that's
do you
why I was
wanna-
like, no.
I'm gonna post the 990 and then the HP3 that I took.
We need to show that on screen then.
Yeah, show a
I
window.
think I'm showing it.
You're showing it, yeah.
That looks good.
I
That's
don't know how to do that.
I mean, that
It's
doesn't look
the-
good, but we
the
can see
green
it.
arrow, like below the chat thing on the left side of
that's so,
Hangouts.
Dude, that's a quad spike.
yeah. I wonder if that if
Maybe
the
even
blue
5.
if the left side is actually more more representative, because that looks pretty spicy.
Which one is left again? Blue?
Blue, I
can't
think
remember.
blue's left.
That
Blue
would
is
be
always left.
standard convention.
Blue should
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Red is always right. That I know. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean that's
very-
like 4 dB more on each of those spikes in blue.
Well,
So
bear
that-
in mind as well, that's ID comped. So the mids
Oh, yeah.
actually, the center mids are actually like 4 decibels too high. So yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot of treble.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I wonder how that dip spike in the upper mids will affect the timbre of the vocals.
Doesn't the TH610 have that as well?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I
but I
recall that was worse than I expected it to be.
I don't remember. I did listen to the 600, but I didn't listen to the 610, so I don't actually know.
Let me just see if I can get the 6.
if I remember right, the 610 pads have a lot to do with, its frequency response relative to like, the 900.
Oh yeah, they're almost all of it.
Okay. Is the 900 really like a cleaner driver or any better than the 610, or is it really just mostly the pads and the lacquer? I
think it has a stronger magnet.
Yeah, bigger magnet, different damping. This is the 610, by the way, so they have a similar dip but less spike.
Yeah, it's not. This one looks way more even. Like, you gotta be fair.
I never compared those. That makes some sense now.
I think that the Klipsch has about the same damping, because the 610 driver has a different damping scheme than the older Foster biocellulose designs, but I think that's pretty much what differentiates it. Well, other than the pads, of course, from the 900. Maybe they use the same driver since it's maybe their newest one. I don't really know their internal workings.
Yeah, I've never tried the 900, but that would be interesting. I think Tile also has a 900 with 610 pads. From his Foster group comparison. That was pretty interesting as well.
I do.
Yeah, he does.
I do want a Foster driver headphone in my collection at some point.
I love the X00. That thing was great when I heard it, especially the ebony one.
Yeah, I was thinking about the Emu Teak.
Yeah, that one's supposed to be even better.
But I really like my D2K personally.
Huh. I almost bought a D2K. I almost bought one, and then I also almost bought a D7K in Japan.
Ooh,
that was a really nice one. I should have bought that one, but I was low on money. Because I'd lost my wallet before, so I was low on money. So yeah, that sucked. So I almost bought it because it was actually pretty cheap. It was like after the tax cut, it was like $350 or something like that, or like a mint, like almost mint condition one. Like
that's really cheap.
It was pretty cheap, and it sounded good. It was actually pretty nice. It was actually, to be honest, the presentation did not even just talking about measurements or anything. The presentation did remind me a little bit of the Utopia. Like, it was kind of forward and aggressive in the midst, like that same kind of presentation of the vocals. But I don't think it had that slight off coloration that I hear with the Utopia and vocals.
Yeah, from the D7000, I remember hearing it sounded sort of similar, but it didn't have that weird weird coloration.
Yeah, but the Utopia is definitely a more resolving headphone in another sense. So
yeah, I can say that again.
Resolving not to play louder than 110 decibels.
Why would you want that anyways?
No, I'm just talking shit. I'm sorry.
Oh man. Yeah, Kenex and I were having this conversation. I think it was yesterday, because I hang out with him because I live right near where he works, and he was like, "Man, remember back when the D7000 was like a flagship, and it's like the best thing you could get?" I was like, "Geez." So I guess it kind of held that title for a while, especially of that series, obviously.
I mean, it's almost
7200 is not even close. Or actually, the 7200 people liked more, but it was a 7100 that was bad.
Yeah, the 7100 was bad. The 7200 is okay. There's something weird about the 7200.
The 7200 is weird. It doesn't have mid-range.
I think it's super weird because there's the sub bass is so elevated, it's so elevated, and it seems to rise into the sub bass. So there's so much less mid bass than there's sub bass. So it's not actually a very warm headphone, maybe and it doesn't actually hit very hard in the bass. There's not. It doesn't. Because when I hear kick drums or anything, it didn't really punch the way I almost expected it to. But then you had that huge rumbling sub bass that literally vibrated the headphones
all the time, but there's no dynamics. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of weird. And then the mids are there's a dip in the lower to mid mids, around 500 hertz, I think, and then it kind of rises, and then it dips again in the upper mids or something.
Dips really significantly.
Yeah, it's so weird. It sounds like it kind of, the upper mids are kind of like an LCD2, but a little. Then it has a treble spike too. That's lower than the one in the LCD2, so it's more, actually a little harsher sounding, a little more forward aggressive sounding.
like 5K or something.
Yeah, it's maybe 5 and 7K. I'm not completely.
Yeah, I don't remember too much. Yeah.
I'm not completely sure. I did listen to it for a while, but it really just I didn't enjoy it, to be honest. Yeah, even though it like it was fairly fairly detailed and yeah, I could hear detail. I could hear some like imaging qualities too and separation, but tonally it didn't mesh with me. It was a nice looking headphone though, with a cross, like with the, what is it called, the
cross
diamond patterned stitching on the headband.
Oh wow,
it's cute. Yeah,
it's a nice style.
Yeah,
I really don't like the way they did the hinges though.
Oh man,
yeah. What's up with those hinges?
Why haven't they changed? Yeah, they are still. That's the thing.
They changed them, but they made it worse. The old ones at least were more repairable.
Oh jeez.
Actually, the D7000 I was looking at in Japan had loose hinges, but you could actually just like
fix that. Yeah.
You could fix that by just like getting a screwdriver, literally, or maybe like changing the screw,
or replacing the pin. I think.
Yeah, but those actually were screwed in, so you can like tighten it probably with the screwdriver. But I actually told the store attendant that this one's loose, so they're probably actually going to take care of it before they sell it, because that's just how they do it.
Ask for less money.
I love the used market in Japan though. It's amazing to buy used there, because they have a weird culture. They don't like doing private sales or actually returning stuff. So some people will buy audio gear, find out they don't like it or they don't want to keep it, and then instead of returning it within return period, they will still sell it rather than returning it. I think that's a cultural thing. Don't quote me. Well, I'm not 100%. I don't want to spread misinformation, but that's what I heard from someone when I was there.
But stores will accept returns, though, right? Like, it's not.
Absolutely, I actually
okay, it's just part of the way it is.
I did return something there, so it does work. They just don't. They don't like to do it. I think there's something about it, like being. Maybe they feel some shame or something that they cost somebody maybe some time or inconvenience.
Honestly, I feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, it took me forever to get used to the concept of just returning something that was, unless it was like broken. I always feel kind of bad about it.
That's why Amazon is so popular, because you can just return it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Apparently, you get blacklisted after a while if you keep doing it over and over.
If you abuse the system, yeah. But if you're a legitimate customer, no. So they monitor ratios or something of like things you order, and they especially with more expensive items. It's like if you buy a lot of expensive stuff and then return it, they might blacklist you, especially, or something like if you keep like something, if you keep ordering stuff and then keep it for a while and then returning it after, so like almost lending it, which some people do.
Yeah, that's
even some reviewers in the headphone world, like I don't actually know which people do it, but I've heard it many times before that some people that can't afford to buy stuff will order stuff from Amazon, review it, and then send it back.
Me. No, that was that was only in the earlier days. Now it's not so much a problem.
Metal 571 revealed.
It's a little bit difficult when you first start, but like at this point, usually people are just willing to send me stuff. So, when you start out, you kind of either have to, just buy stuff that's not too expensive to begin with, or find some way to borrow it. But it's hard. I think that's a genuine problem with, if you want to start reviewing, it can be difficult if you don't have funds on hand for that. But I started when I didn't even have a full-time job, so like it was tougher. Now it's not so bad.
I think that's why a lot of new reviewers end up starting these big reviews of Chi-Fi and like, best X under $50 sort of stuff, is because, if you only have $200 and you can turn that into 5-6 reviews.
I swear DMS's like first videos were all of that, and yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, with the Chi-Fi, especially with the IEMs and shit, the the thing with those is that actually you just need to have like 1 or 2 written reviews online. As long as you have that, you can write one of those companies in China that maybe like retailers or even some companies that produce them, and they'll send you their entry level products, which are probably like $20 or $10. They can easily, and it's more cheap. It's even more cheaper for them to send it out. But they can do that, and as long as you have like some sort of review online that you can send them, especially if you take like good photos, they'll just send you one of their entry level products, and if you review it positively, like only if you review it positively, then you will get more products and more higher end stuff from them. That's how it works. And if you want to start reviewing, it's the easiest way to do it is by reviewing a cheap chi-fi, like Chinese, in your monitor or earbud. That's like the easiest way to get like review units.
Yeah, there's so many of those. I can't even tell you how many emails every week I get from any Chinese company that is just like, we have a product, review it. So like I can totally believe that's a typical thing. I mean, yeah, the Chi-Fi IEMs, I mean, they're super popular still, aren't they? I mean, that's not going away soon. So
yeah, it's funny because they keep moving on to the next thing. Like it's like there's just a very few that have been popular for a long time, but usually it's just a flavor of the month thing, like it seems, because there's new stuff being released every month, so they will just hype something, and then once the hype has died down, they'll move to the next one. That's just kind of how that lives. There's some people that legitimately only can afford those types of things, and I think it's cool that you can buy acceptable audio quality from $20 in your monitor nowadays. I think that's great that it doesn't have completely off tonality or like it sounds completely like all mushed together or something. It can sound decent even in the lower prices, but there's so many of them, and then people get like addicted to buying it because it's a little different every time, and they have different designs, and so
business move,
and it's, if you have a little bit of disposable income, even if it's not a lot, you can afford $50 or $30 every month usually. So they will. There's some people that have like 10s or 20 or pairs of those, and you can't really sell them anyways, because if you sell them, it's not worth the shipping. So there's some people out there on Headfi that have like 20, 30 pairs of these entry level IEMs from China. It's so funny.
That's awesome.
But if it's fun for them, I mean, to each their own, right? I can't knock it.
No, absolutely. Regarding what you said about the sort of hype of the month thing for Chinese IEMs, I kind of feel like that's maybe just a budget category thing, though, because like I remember like a long time ago, I don't know how true this still is, but I think it probably is. Like low end over-ear and on-ear headphones, like $20, $15, up to $50. There'd always be some new thing that was like the HD800 for $50.
Or like, I remember people saying the JVC RX700 was like a $30 HD650.
Yeah, exactly.
I fell for the Panasonic. I was at the HTF 600 a while ago too. You guys probably remember that. It was a couple years ago. That was a major flavor of the month.
What was that? Was that a Pioneer or Panasonic SAE1000 or SAE?
Oh yeah,
the A1000.
Oh
yeah, that was a Pioneer. That was like they sold them at Best Buy.
And the one
that didn't somebody say that one sounded like an HD650 too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it has like amazing bass distortion that like extends into the mids, like 1% or something.
Yeah. No, it's like way more than. I think it's like 10% at least.
Yeah. Somebody showed a distortion graph.
Best Buy, and it was like one of the worst sounding headphones I've ever heard.
Really, they sold that Pioneer in Best Buy? Wow.
Yeah, they had it in the like Magnolia stations.
Okay, wow, that's interesting, huh?
Okay, so screen sharing. The frequency response of just like the HD650. Oh shit! Wait, this is my friggin' wrong browser. Don't observe my bookmarks. Fiddler, cut that.
Wow.
You cut back in.
Everybody screenshot that.
Oh, please. I mean, it's just like my website, Headfi, and a few other things, but I don't know. I'm awkward about it.
No, I know everything about you now.
You got my credit card information already.
I social engineered everything. I know your social security number. I know the first words that your mother said to you after birth.
Damn, I don't even know that one.
I know the brand of scissors that your dad used to cut your something, whatever it's called, cord.
What? Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was gonna say.
Wait, what were you thinking I was gonna say?
No comment. Anyway,
This looks like a
this is the
headphone.
distortion.
Oh God.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that thing does not. It's not really being played at a comfortable level for it. I'll say that. So I don't know what it was made for.
You think that's audible?
Hertz. That's horrible.
It really depends on the ordering. Like, but given that that's like not just because the FR is dropping there, it well might be even for low order harmonic distortion. 6 or 7% is a lot.
Yeah, you can definitely hear that, especially if you crank it up like I do and go deaf all the time.
That's a hype that died quickly.
Yeah.
Well, it had a recurrence cycle as well, though. The first type was like 5 years ago, but then a YouTuber picked it up and was like, "These sound really good." And I recall seeing a bunch of them on Reddit and Headfi a bit.
And then, yeah, Tile. Like, I like how Tile specifically used the A1000 as, I think it was a bad square wave.
Well, yeah, he doesn't like the square wave, the 30 hertz one, because it has so much roll off. The square wave just looks like, I don't know what, a ski jump, basically.
I think so.
It's like a warm bad cos.
A warm bad
like,
cos.
I don't know, do you all ever hear like those like cost plug things? The things that kind of look like traffic cones.
The plug. I've never.
Do you mean those clip-on dual driver ones?
No, he means the in-ears. The ones that look
They
like...
kind of sounded like being underwater, and that's the kind of like feeling I had when I used the A1000.
I think the cos in-ears kind of look phallic. Have you seen those?
I don't know what kind of...
the ones that are literally a cone. I mean, I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time...
Wait.
I have to look up a picture of this now.
Wait, I mean some specific... Maybe I got them mixed. Where are these ones that I'm in?
It's literally called the plug.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah, definitely.
That's definitely phallic to you.
Maybe I didn't mean... Maybe I didn't mean cos. Maybe I should mean.
Are you thinking of, I don't know, Future Sonic? I remember the Future Sonic trios kind of looked phallic. Because they had
Klipsch. I mean Klipsch. Those ones look.
We've learned something about open lips today. I'm not sure what we've learned, but we've learned something.
Wait, I gotta link you this before you guys think I'm crazy.
I think you've already failed on that one.
Wow. Don't be mean, okay? Don't bully me.
No bully, please.
No bully. Wait, I posted in the
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the clip, like the Klipsch X10 looks a lot more
That is phallic to you?
That's not very phallic.
I don't know. It just looks odd. It looks odd, okay? It looks odd.
I'm screen sharing this, so it's on the permanent record.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
To be fair,
that looks more
the etymotic ones may look a little more phallic than the Klipsch ones. So,
are you saying that you're ribbed?
No, my ER4 tips are ribbed, but not for my pleasure. It's for isolation.
Man, it's so hard to pitch etymotics to most folks for that reason. I think.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, it is. I hesitate to recommend them literally because of the way they look
and the way they feel.
Well, you don't know that by looking at it, not immediately. That's something that's like a traumatic experience that you only get once you insert them.
Well, yeah, but like I don't want to recommend some new person. They're like, "Hey, I want a good IEM," and they just like shove something into your brain. And
then you link them the etymotic video that shows them how to insert them, and they literally tell you to to lubricate the tips.
Yeah, no,
Really?
they do.
They do.
They do.
They say I think there's a little bit of saliva to lubricate it the first time. Or something.
Saliva,
Saliva,
please. What the?
I don't know. Didn't you?
No, I don't believe. I think it's
limiting yourself every time you want to use them.
I think it's water. I'm gonna lick that lollipop.
Well,
That's not my
after that,
favorite flavor.
It'll have some earwax on it, so it's already kind of lubricated.
Well, it depends on how waxy your ears are, I guess.
That's true. I'm really disadvantaged for IEMs, and I've never really been able to enjoy them much because of this. Because like I just have too much earwax.
I gotta be straight with you guys because I used to be huge into IEMs, as some of you may know, but not anybody listening, but the people I'm talking to. But I've had some fit issues. Like sometimes, like a lot of the time, I don't know what it is about the shape of my ears, or maybe I'm deaf on one side, but if I use IEMs, the image of like oftentimes the image is shifted to the left side, which is really fucking annoying to me. So I have to like balance it out in software or something.
Oh no, we lost Kyle.
I think he just switched headphones. I think I just saw some HE1000s.
He's upgrading.
Yeah.
He's evolving in real time.
But why is he back to open backs?
He's been off and on here and there.
I do miss the background noise that he contributed. There it is.
Oh damn!
Wait, what?
Those are
HE1000.
Oh yeah, I got super sweaty with the.
I thought that was a Sisvara for a second. I was
no.
Oh no.
Sisvara is smaller cups, but is this a V1 or V2?
It's a V1.
Oh, have you heard both?
Yeah, I don't like the V2.
Really?
Very much. Because it doesn't sound as soft.
Why do you want it soft? Like,
because like I don't know, the softness I feel is the only thing that really makes the HE1000 special. Because like, I don't know, there's nothing super special about the mid-range treble or bass, but the softness kind of gives this extra character that gives me a reason to like pick it up over the HD800 or something like that.
I really, really liked the V1 when I borrowed one. I definitely had to kill some of the highs, but like it wasn't that much. And like as soon as I did that, everything was like so balanced to me that it was like, holy moly, this is dangerous for me to listen to this. And I'm like, might want to sell my HD800 now. And like the soundstage wasn't that much worse enough, but like the detail I was able to extract was like, because the 800 I cannot. Oh man, the 800 and its peaks are so difficult to deal with for me. So,
well, particularly since you're an EQ guy, and they shift a bit.
And they're so hard. Yeah, it's like really hard to EQ the HD.
How many hours have you spent trying to
make money? Oh, you guys would laugh so hard if you saw my piece. I saved all the presets and I kept changing them like over and over. Probably spent like months just like sitting down and being like, all right, let's see where they're at today.
At any point, have you found yourself like returning to previous settings and thinking, wait, I've been here before?
Sometimes I'll go through the old ones and be like, oh no, definitely not that, and definitely not that. Like I think I actually have made progress on messing with it, but a lot of it's still by ear, and then
I have a video.
Measure it occasionally.
I want a video from you now of like metal EQs for the HD800 throughout history. Like you start at the beginning and walk us through your evolution.
Oh man, that was.
Maybe you can extrapolate like the way you were feeling at certain points, because like the way you were feeling made you perceive the sound differently and adjust the EQ differently.
That's so probably that's an interesting point though, honestly, because I swear day to day, whenever I put on the same pair of headphones for a while and then I get used to the sound, and then after a while I'm like, okay, can't do this anymore. And then I come back the next day and I put them on, I'm like, that was way off. And like I have to mess with it again, and like you have to have your like hearing reset between days, especially if you try equalizing things, because I have to like eliminate brain burn-in from my review in order to like accurately assess how something is. And then you have to wear like a bunch of different headphones to make sure your brain doesn't get too used to it, because then your audience is going to be like, oh yeah, this is neutral, everything is just neutral. I listened to it so long and my brain thinks it's flat now. So it's extra difficult when you're EQing too, because you keep changing that and you keep getting used to the changes. and it's a pain. So yeah.
I've never found a neutral sounding headphone or earphone.
Oh yeah, me
Yeah.
either.
I can like nothing comes even close to speakers. It's sad.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
The ER4 is the closest thing I've heard to neutral, which is kind of sad because I hate like the
You hate
timbre.
those?
I have a love-hate relationship with that headphone, that
Mhm.
earphone. Like at first, I really like. I actually did like the treble at first too, because it was so inoffensive. Like it was just right on, like from the level somewhat. But then, tonally, the timbre was it's not on that. But it was not harsh, and that's nothing it's nothing to overlook. That's one of the positives I noted in the HD820 is that the treble is actually really even for a close back, in my experience. Wait, I fucking lost track.
You lost the plot.
I did lose. Wait, so I was talking about the earphone. Yeah, no, the one thing that kills the earphone for me now is the vocals, because I'm like kind of really sensitive towards vocals somehow. But the ER4 vocals just don't sound good to me. Like not anymore. It just sounds squeaky. It sounds kind of nasal too. Like it's just. No, I can't do it anymore. It's just sad.
Just like I feel like in general, it's like a balanced armature thing, because like even the Andro, the Campfire Andromeda, which people say, oh, they don't have the BA timbre. No, it has like a lot of BA timbre. I don't know, like.
Yeah, no, it does definitely, and I think there's something weird about the Andro mids too. Like, there's some sort of smearing going on with like the texture and separation is kind of not there where it should be.
It's like, have you heard the Andro S? Apparently, it sounds different.
Yeah, I think they did change 2 drivers or 1 driver in there. But they did actually change drivers. So apparently it sounds different, but I haven't heard it. I'm still
honestly, yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah, because like I don't know. I just don't. But every time I hear the Andromeda, I like it less, which isn't really a good thing.
You had something weird with output impedance going on, anyways. When I was listening to your different impressions from different sources, like
every time I've used it, it's different.
Because that's one of the things that I think is kind of an engineering flaw with the Andro, is that there's source impedance, right? So if you have just you can audibly detect 0.5 ohms output impedance with the Andro, I think.
Yeah, and that's pretty problematic.
Yeah, and you shouldn't, because I can tell when I'm going from my Sony Walkman to a device with a 0.2 output impedance, ohm output impedance, and the Walkman has a 0.92. So that's like 0.7 ohms difference, and I can tell the difference very noticeably with the Andro.
Well, for the Andro, isn't that that's like almost 1/10, right? So that's like, I should remember the math better off the top of my head, but like that actually is, it's really just a case against really highly variable impedance and really, really low impedance stuff, I guess.
Yeah. No, yeah, and then if you look at the impedance curve of it, like it is just really uneven. It's not as bad as maybe the one that was really bad.
Also, I think that your cell phone is communicating with us.
Phone is close to them.
Who?
I think it's Ofen.
Is it me? Am I like breathing or something?
No. Your cell phone is sending us a message.
Oh, wait. Is it better now?
Well, it's intermittent, but hopefully.
Yeah, that only happens when it's getting a message or something.
That shouldn't be a problem. I don't get messages.
Just man. That's crazy. I mean, I'm not an IEM guy, but I just can't imagine this. Like, you're still less than 1 ohm, and that's not good enough, because
I mean, like, imagine using it with like DAPs and cell phones. Those things are all over the place.
Yeah, it's funny because some people will. Go ahead.
If you use the iPhone dongle, what is that? Is it 0.5?
Yeah, some
like 1.2, or it's like very low.
It's very low. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say is some people will actually twist that into a positive, like they say, oh, the Andro is so tunable. You can tune it by output impedance, And I was saying like that's not how things are supposed to be. That's not a feature. Even though it did, kind of show me that the Andro with a little bit less bass is maybe something that I would enjoy more than the way it's tuned right now with low output impedance, because some people will disagree, but I think it is quite thick at low output.
It's really thick. Yeah. Like when I heard it out of the FIO X7, I thought it was like, I think it's the bassiest thing I've ever heard, which says a lot. Yeah. Like it was like so much bassier than like even the Cascade.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
Oh boy, the Cascade.
I like the Cascade. I don't care what y'all say.
Listen, it's fine. we still love you. But seriously though, I want to like mic people who like the Cascade versus people who hate it and see what the difference is for their on-head bass response, because I think it's probably pretty significant actually.
I'd like to try it.
I was gonna say, doesn't Ratings do some section on ceiling too? That would be interesting if they do the Cascade.
That's how they calculate bass, isn't it? They just measured on like 30 people.
5. They measure on 5
I think it's like 5 or 6. Yeah.
I thought it was way more than 5.
No, I mean it's like 5 receipts on 5 people, which is for a good design that should still be like good enough to show it didn't vary very much, but it's not like a population sample. The real problem with Ratings though is that they merge the bass way too high, so that like for some headphones you get a really weird discontinuity as a result. But it is good that they're checking, does this seal better or worse on our hats than in real life?
I forgot that Ratings uses the bass from, those like sort of person-to-person experiments, and then I guess averages that and then combines it with the hats, mids and highs. That's what that graph is.
Well, it's not just the mids and highs. They actually merge in the mids sometimes, because they have,
really?
At least if they still do it the way that they said when they did their video on it, they use these binaural Soundman mics that sit in the concha, and they basically do a sweep for both, and then they see where the response starts to diverge between the two, because the binaural mics aren't right for measurements and don't.
They do it on a case by case basis.
Yeah, at least that's what Sam said the last time they talked about it that I saw.
We gotta get really on here.
Have they measured the HD820 yet?
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
the variability is all over the place.
What was their conclusion?
I think that they liked it on the numbers because their whole thing is on the numbers, but they had like some snippy comments about the variation.
Right. Okay. Not very helpful then, I guess. Never mind. Maybe who here has heard the HD820 actually?
I heard it really briefly.
I've never heard else.
Yeah, I haven't heard it.
Okay. Well, so I'm like the only one, I guess.
Well,
I'll say, I heard it really briefly, and the problem with it is they didn't let you use your own music, so I can only kind of speculate. But I was able to listen to the same music at least back to back with the 800S, and my only main impression was kind of like, the treble is definitely more laid back and more even than the 800S, but that's about all I think I got out of it.
The only thing.
Most part.
You didn't notice anything about the bass?
Yeah, somehow I didn't hear that incredible problem at 300 hertz. But I'm pretty sure if I had used the track I was really familiar with, that would be obvious.
What was the justification for that? I don't remember that off the top of my head. But I know Axel said there was some reason it was there.
The dip?
Yeah.
I think Axel said it was basically like, well, it's going to be there, so now it's just a matter of putting it where it's the least obtrusive or something. Really? I forget exactly why, that made me mad.
I think somebody said, this is just hearsay, but I think I read somewhere that they said they could have fixed it with damping, but they chose to leave it.
Because of the glass?
That, I could be completely wrong with that, though. I just read that. I didn't. But it's not that the dip is that noticeable, like in the bass. It's more in the mids that it's actually noticeable, I think. because
Well, I mean, isn't it? It's like 300 hertz. So
Yeah, 300 hertz is like the
and then I
beginning
think
hertz.
from like on measurements, I think it's like 12 dB from the bottom of the dip to the upper mids.
Oof.
So that there's
Where's
a
the
12 dB
Sorry?
rise into the upper mids. So that's I think what I thought was more noticeable. You know,
kind of like the LCD-XC?
Wouldn't that be quite a bit worse than the LCD? Well, quite a bit more
lot
stark
worse.
than the LCD
Well,
XC.
It'd be a lot like the LCD-2 close that I had for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that actually measured very similarly to that, didn't it?
They should have just kept it like
Yeah.
that. They could say it's a cheaper HD 820.
wow,
That would be the most controversial review.
That
LCD
would be.
2C or LCD.
you need to get one of those for like a comparison review at some point. You
Mhm.
need to work on that.
I'm gonna get one eventually. I think.
I think so.
it's just a matter of like having them in stock for headphone.com.
Supposedly, the LCD-XC had the most significant changes in the 2016 onward revision. I forget exactly what they did with it, but because
like I heard
needed it.
Yeah, I heard a pre-2016 LCD-XC, and it was like one of the worst things I've ever heard.
I know. I've always thought of it as like the headphone that's priced at a price where you're just like, why? Immediately upon hearing it every time, why
like,
is it so much?
So
It's like in
yeah, what it's like what?
oh, it's like Grado GS1000 levels of why.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
I've actually not heard like a lot of high-end Grados, to be fair.
Yeah, like I like Grados, but like the Bowl Cup ones sound awful. Because
Those
they
just ruin.
Yeah, they remove the spike, which makes them like unique and interesting. And instead, like you just realize, oh, this is just a
Which
medium
spike?
headphone.
The mid
Like,
spike?
Yeah, the 2K spike.
Yeah, I was figuring that like that's kind of like the greater coloration right there, you know.
Mhm.
have you ever tried the low end pads on the higher end Grados? I've always figured to probably
Oh,
make
I
them pretty similar.
Yeah, I
to
really
lower
should
end
try that.
ones.
Yeah. Well, they have different drivers. They have 50mm drivers, but
They do, but
mean-
when people put the bowl pads on the 40mm Grados, it's a very similar net response.
yeah. And I mean, like, I remember a few people put like PX100 drivers onto Grado frames, and you just ended up with like a darker Grado with the same spike. So I'm guessing it ended up pretty similar.
So back to closed headphones. What is actually you guys' favorite closed headphone? Like starting well, we kind of maybe can leave Matt out of this, or maybe we just say besides the one he makes.
Mine is not the
I mean, that wouldn't be even like it's not that close, and
It's
it probably
not your
wouldn't even
favorite
be my
one.
pick.
So you don't consider yours closed backs? Okay, I guess.
Well, no, I consider mine closed-ish, but probably like favorite closed back would probably be like, damn, that's actually a hard question.
It really is like the most difficult question. It's so few closebacks that are good, I feel like, in general.
The only one I can really think of is the Icon. Well, the Icon is my favorite current production one, but like in general, I think it would be the Stax 4170 or 4070.
4070. Is that actually properly closed?
I'm pretty sure it was properly closed. Like it isolated a lot from when I used it.
Okay.
I didn't know that was closed, huh? That's interesting.
It does look really funky.
It looks stupid. It looks so stupid on your head.
It looks like you have a fridge on either side of your head.
Or like those like lawnmower muffs.
Jeez, yeah, that looks weird.
Yeah, it is a very weird headphone, but it measures really pretty. Like it just has a lot of upper mids
like super
on
fat.
lower treble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only problem is like $2,000 now.
Yeah,
Jesus.
those are crazy rare. Those are.
Mhm.
There was somebody in Singapore that bought one recently. I think that was one.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that. I was like, "You lucky bastard!" I think he got a decent price on it too. Like,
Really?
I don't know for sure, but yeah, for me, like I can say it's probably the HD820. That's probably the best one that I've heard. It's not the one I would buy because I don't see myself spending that much on a close back. That's also because I haven't really actually heard a close back that I genuinely love. I would say tonally, especially if you don't count the Cal and Denon type headphones to be closed backs. But that's like a controversial thing. Some people some people say, oh, it's got a cup that's closed, so it's a closed back. And some people say, well, it's got a huge fucking vent around the rim.
Yeah, I don't really think those are quite classified as closed backs.
They don't really isolate.
They're engineering wise, they are closed. They're ported, but they are still closed. But it's like, you know, how do we use the term in practice?
I think if you base it on what you would typically see as usage cases for closed backs, those would not qualify because they don't fulfill the same tasks that a properly closed back headphone would, I think. You know, which is isolation and possibly portability.
Man, every time I go back to closed backs, I'm like, there's got to be something that's closed back that's like at least, you know, if not like HD800 tier, that's just like a little bit below it, because my brain just sort of automatically assumes there has to be something like that. But then I go over every closed back I've heard in my brain. I'm just like, no, there's not.
No, it's tough. Like, yeah, I don't know. The 820 it's pretty close, you know, in resolution, at least in the treble. It's just not, you know, apart from that, it's as like tonally, it's just not close to the open back HD800. It's very different. You know, some people may prefer it. You know, I can definitely see some people preferring the 820 over the 800. And funnily enough, you know, I should definitely be more biased towards the 820 because the IEMs that I'm using have somewhat similar frequency response. They also have a raised bass response that extends into the upper bass, and then it also dips into the lower mids a little bit, and then, you know, rises into the upper mids a little bit. It just doesn't rise as sharply into the upper mids, and it doesn't, you know, the dip isn't as pronounced in the lower mids. So,
what IM is that?
The Orchestune HS1551.
Ah,
yeah, those
a lot of hype for those.
I mean, you know, I gotta be fair with you. It's definitely colored. It's just that in the situations that I use it in, which is outside, and the way I listen to IEMs in that situation it's fine for me to listen to them even though they're colored, because definitely it's V-shaped somewhat, but actually leaning warm because the treble is quite down apart from the 6K spike, and you know, that's the only thing that makes it sound not dark. But if that wasn't there, it would probably be considered a dark IEM. And then also the mids, biased towards the upper mids, are still, the upper mids are not there. So if you listen to violins, for example, then, you know, some of the upper harmonics are not quite the way they should be, you know, timbre wise. So it's colored, but the music that I listen to outside and, you know, the extra bass is just kind of fits. It's pleasant. It's definitely a pleasant headphone, and I think
anyone else hear an echo?
Yeah,
it might be ish.
It might be me.
You know, I think it's the HE1000 is on axis with the mic now.
Oh, maybe. You need to tilt your head.
Oh my god, it worked.
Yeah. All right.
Just tilt ish, guys.
So that wraps up our first episode of THD. We hope you enjoyed listening, and if you did, please do subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of any new content we put out there. If you haven't done so already, please join our discussion group on the Discord platform. I'll put the link to the server in the description below. We're called Headphone Headquarters. I'm Eugene, the lead editor of this channel, and hope to see you over on the Discord chat. See you soon, and happy listening.